Hi, I'm Deborah. Life-changing moments, they don't announce themselves. For me, it was 8 years ago on what was supposed to be a carefree family ski trip. I was 18, fresh out of high school, thinking I had everything figured out. Funny how certainty crumbles in an instant. Just one more run before sunset. I called to my parents from the top of the slope. Mom was fussing with her goggles while Dad checked his phone, as usual. They waved me off with distracted smiles, unaware it would be the last time they saw me standing. I didn't see the ice patch. One moment, I was flying down the slope, wind in my face. The next, darkness. When I woke up in the hospital, the words hit me like a second crash. Paralyzed from the waist down. At 18, but the real pain came later, watching my parents' faces change over the weeks that followed. "We're just stepping out for coffee, honey," Mom would say, staying away longer each time. Dad barely met my eyes, muttering excuses about insurance and work. Only my brother, Carl, stayed. He'd camp out by my bedside, his laptop balanced on his knees, working remotely. "Those physical therapy bills won't pay themselves," he joked, but I saw the lines of worry deepening on his 24-year-old face. "They're just processing everything." Carl reassured me when I asked why our parents' visits grew shorter. "Give them time." Time revealed the truth. One morning, a nurse handed me a letter, Mom's elegant handwriting spelling out devastation. "We can't handle this, Deborah. We never signed up for a disabled daughter. The insurance will cover your medical bills. Carl will handle the rest." I stared at the words, my chest hollow. Later that day, Sophia, my best friend since middle school, stormed into my room to find me clutching the letter. "Those cowards couldn't even say it to your face." She spat, her hands trembling as she read it. "What kind of parents just leave?" I asked through tears. "The kind who don't deserve you," Carl said, stepping into the room with a fierce determination. "I've already called work. I'm taking over as your primary caregiver. But your career in Seattle," I protested, "can be managed remotely. Besides, Sophia's tech startup idea needs a financial advisor, right?" Sophia's eyes brightened. "Our accessibility app. Deborah, you're still the best coder I know. Chair or not, your brain is what we need." That was 8 years ago. Today, our company, Access Tech Solutions, is transforming lives for people with disabilities. Carl manages finances, Sophia oversees operations, and I lead development. We're proof that family isn't always blood. "Miss Chen, your 2 o'clock appointment is here." My assistant's voice crackles through the intercom. "Thanks, send them in." I reply, turning my wheelchair toward the door. It opens and my heart stops. Standing there, looking older but unmistakably them, are my parents. "Hello, Deborah," Mom says softly. "You look successful," Dad adds with a strained smile. I grip the armrests of my wheelchair, steadying myself against the surge of anger and grief. 8 years of abandonment meet two desperate faces. The game they're playing is written all over them. Let the real story begin. Minutes after they leave, Sophia bursts into my office. "I saw them in the lobby. Please tell me you didn't fall for whatever sob story they fed you." I stare at the business card Mom left behind. "They want to have dinner tonight, to explain everything." "Absolutely not," Carl's voice booms from my speakerphone. "Not without me there." "They said they've regretted their decision every day for 8 years. I murmur, the words tasting bitter. How convenient their regret surfaces right after Access Tech makes Forbes 30 under 30, Sophia says, her fingers flying over her tablet. "Wait a sec. Here we go." She turns the screen toward me. "Your parents' social media accounts." My stomach tightens as I scroll. Photos of yacht parties in Monaco, skiing in the Alps, wine tasting in Tuscany. But one post freezes me in place. "Look at this poor deer trying to wheel through cobblestones," reads the caption under a photo of a person in a wheelchair struggling on a Parisian street. So glad we didn't burden ourselves with that life. The air feels heavy. "There's more," Sophia says quietly. More mocking captions, more celebrations of their freedom, more proof they never changed. "Miss Chen, your parents are insisting on speaking with you again," my assistant says, her voice tinged with concern. Before I can respond, the door bursts open. Mom's perfectly composed face now looks strained, and Dad's designer suit is rumpled. "Deborah, honey, we need to talk." Privately, Mom glances pointedly at Sophia. "Anything you need to say, you can say in front of my family," I reply, emphasizing the word. It makes them flinch. Dad steps forward, his posture stiff. We've hit a rough patch. Some investments went wrong. How much? I ask flatly. 2 million, he admits, his voice barely above a whisper. But it's not just about money. We really do want to make amends. Really? I say, pulling up their social media posts on my computer screen. Is that why you mocked disabled people online? To make amends. Mom's face drains of color, and Dad stumbles over excuses. Get out, I whisper, then louder. Get out. You don't understand. Mom pleads. Those posts. We were hurting. Hurting. Carl's voice booms as he strides into the room, clearly having broken every speed limit to get here. You want to talk about hurting? Try watching your teenage sister learn to live without her legs while her parents walked away. We're still her parents. Dad tries to stand his ground. No, Carl says coldly, stepping between them and me. You're just opportunists who see a cash cow in the daughter you abandoned. Now, get out before I call security. They leave, but not before Mom turns back, her voice brittle. We're not giving up, Deborah. We'll prove we've changed. After they're gone, Sophia holds up her phone. They've been contacting other successful entrepreneurs with disabilities. Same story, estranged parents seeking reconciliation. Always right when their kids hit peak success. They won't stop, will they? I ask, exhaustion seeping into my voice. Carl puts a steadying hand on my shoulder. No, but neither will we. Sophia's eyes gleam with determination. The Disability Tech Conference is next month. They'll definitely try something there. I glance between my brother and best friend, feeling the fire reignite inside me. Then let's be ready. The Disability Tech Conference is the biggest event in our industry. Normally, I'd be excited, but as I watch my parents work the room from my spot near the stage, all I feel is disgust. They're good, I'll give them that. They've convinced half the room they're devoted parents of a disabled entrepreneur, Sophia whispers, pretending to check my presentation slides. I watch Mom dab fake tears while chatting with a potential investor. Did you get everything? I ask. Oh yeah, Sophia pulls out her phone. Every conversation they've had this week, including the one where they called you their meal ticket at the hotel bar last night. Mrs. Chen is quite the actress, my assistant comments, wheeling over. She just told a Bloomberg reporter how she spent years helping you adapt to your wheelchair. Funny, since she wasn't even in the country. Carl approaches, adjusting his tie. I got something better. Remember Jeremy Wong, the developer who turned them down last month? Turns out they pulled the same routine with 3 other disabled entrepreneurs. Jeremy's got signed statements from all of them. Your parents have been running the sympathy scam for over a year. Mom spots me and waves enthusiastically. Deborah, darling, come meet Mr. Patterson. He's fascinated by your journey. Showtime, I mutter, wheeling over. I was just telling Mr. Patterson how we supported you every step of the way. Mom gushes. Really? I reply, my voice icy. Tell him about the steps I took in Paris. Her face freezes. You know, when you photographed and mocked a disabled person struggling with cobblestones. Mr. Patterson's eyebrows shoot up. That's not, we were in a bad place then, Dad stammers. Like when you were in Monaco or Tuscany? I retort, pulling out my tablet. Would you like to see their social media posts, Mr. Patterson? They're quite enlightening. This is hardly the place, Mom hisses, her composure cracking. You're right, the stage would be better. I wheel toward the podium. My keynote starts in 2 minutes. Deborah, please, Dad says, grabbing my wheelchair. Bad move. Take your hands off my chair, I say loudly enough for heads to turn. Unlike my legs, my voice works perfectly, and I'm not afraid to use it. Security approaches as Carl steps in. Is there a problem here? No problem, Mom says, her voice suddenly sugary sweet. We're just having a family discussion. Family? I laugh bitterly. Let's talk about family. Let's talk about how you abandoned your paralyzed teenage daughter. How you mocked disabled people online while living it up in Europe. How you only came back when you needed money. A crowd gathers. Phones are recording. You're twisting everything. Dad protests weakly. Sophia steps forward, her phone playing the hotel bar recording. Once we get the money from our crippled cash cow, we can finally retire properly. Gasps ripple through the crowd as Mom's mask shatters completely. My keynote today was supposed to be about overcoming challenges, I say, addressing the stunned audience. I think I'll talk about recognizing toxic people instead, starting with the ones who see their disabled daughter as nothing more than a bank account. You'll regret this, Mom hisses under her breath. I wheel onto the stage ramp, my voice steady and clear. No, Mom. The only thing I regret is ever thinking I wasn't enough. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a speech to give. As security escorts them out, I catch Carl and Sophia's proud smiles. The real show is about to begin. My conference speech goes viral overnight. #ToxicParents and #disability rights trend for days. But the real storm hits when journalists dig deeper. Another family has come forward, Sophia announces, dropping a tablet in my lap. Their disabled son was approached by our parents 3 months ago. Same story, same sympathy play, same attempt to get investment money. How many does that make now? I ask, scrolling through the article. 7 confirmed cases, Carl says, looking up from his laptop, plus dozens of suspicious connections. Their reputation is completely destroyed. My phone buzzes. Mom again. Her desperate voicemails have grown increasingly hostile over the past week. I press play on the latest one. You've ruined us. Her voice crackles through the speaker. We're your parents, we gave you life. And I gave you consequences, I murmur, blocking their number for the final time. Speaking of consequences, Sophia grins, pulling up a news site. Your parents' business partners want nothing to do with them. That investment firm your dad worked with, they've cut all ties. Their social circles have abandoned them too, Carl adds. Turns out rich people don't like being associated with publicly exposed toxic parents. Who knew? A notification pops up on my screen. A message from Jeremy Wong. They're selling their house, I say, reading aloud. Moving to some small town in Idaho. Guess Monaco's off the table now. Live, I say, feeling lighter than I have in years. Let them live with their choices, just like I had to live with mine. Miss Chen, my assistant, pokes her head in. The Disability Foundation is on line 1. They want to partner with Access Tech for a nationwide accessibility initiative. I catch my reflection in the office window, sitting straight in my wheelchair, surrounded by real family. Put them through. And that's not all, Sophia says, practically bouncing with excitement. Remember that investor your mom was crying to at the conference? Mr. Patterson. I raise an eyebrow. He wants to fund our new education program for disabled youth. Really? $10 million worth of really, Carl says, sliding over the proposal. He said, and I quote, "True family stands by you. Let's help kids who need that support." My eyes water as I read the details. A tech education center designed specifically for disabled youth. Scholarships, mentorship programs. Everything we dreamed of creating. You know what this means, I say, looking at my real family. We can help make sure no other disabled person feels as alone as I did. About that, Sophia says, pulling up a calendar. We've received hundreds of messages from disabled individuals sharing similar stories of family abandonment. They're asking for support groups, resources. Then let's give it to them, I decide. The center can have a community space too. No one should face this alone. Carl squeezes my shoulder. Mom and Dad thought they were ruining you by leaving. Instead, they made you stronger. No, I correct him, holding out my hands to my brother and best friend. You two made me stronger. They just made me angry. And now, I take a deep breath, the fire in my chest steady and bright. Now we're going to use that anger to help others rise. Sophia wipes her eyes, trying to look professional and failing. So, boss lady, ready to change more lives? Let's get to work, I say, pushing through the doors to our future. We've got people to help and lives to change. Some say success is the best revenge. I say using that success to help others is even better.